Welcome to Kaleidoscope S4IG. Let's talk. A children's author who has touched the hearts and minds of children around the world, given that her English books are translated into Italian, Lithuanian, Turkish and Dutch, is UK-based Sri Lankan writer Nizrana Farook, who has written 4 books revolving around the magical isle of Serendib, and also read excerpts of her book alongside Queen Consort Kamala. Among her writings is The Girl Who Stole an Elephant, which was so popular that it made the recommended reading list for children in the UK. Then there was The Boy Who Met a Whale, and The Girl Who Lost a Leopard, and The Boy Who Stole a Bear. Nizrana was in Sri Lanka, and I really had to have a chat with her on Let's Talk to find out more about her writing and her love to write children's books. Now, you've studied math for A-levels, you got a degree in computer science and then a master's in writing. That's quite a change of course, really, when you think about it. How did this all come about?
I mean, it's not actually all that rare, I think, especially with friends that I have in the UK who are also authors. They've all somehow come to it from different fields, because I think it's always better when you're a writer to have some life experience behind you before you start writing. Somehow in Sri Lanka, you don't think of it as a job, do you? Like, I don't know of anyone in Sri Lanka who just does that as their job. They might write books, but they have another job as well. So I just did other things, but when I thought I have to give this a chance and write, then I thought I needed some training, and then I went and did a master's in writing, and that's how I found my way in.
How does it feel to actually represent Sri Lanka in the children's literature genre in the UK?
I don't know of many Sri Lankan authors in the children's sphere in the UK writing mainstream books. It's sadly not common at all to see this part of the world represented in children's literature. We do have the old books like The Secret Garden, much loved books which are set in, not in Sri Lanka, obviously in India, but all from that kind of a colonial mindset. We need books from Sri Lankan authors and people from this part of the world writing from our point of view. I think already I'm seeing new authors, I'm hearing about them, I'm meeting them through Twitter, Sri Lankan authors and illustrators as well. So I think that is a really good sign and something that we need.
What do you think about AI slowly taking over the world of writers?
It's a big, massive question at the moment, and it's an ongoing discussion, and it's because it's such a rapidly evolving thing. I mean, frighteningly rapidly. This is something that we have to address now. I mean, like most people in the creative industries, I have concerns because of, obviously these things are kind of replacing us. What we want is basically, first of all, it's consent, because it's our work that is feeding into these systems. And then finally also compensation, because we are entitled to fair compensation for our works going into those systems. So yeah, I think this is a huge question at the moment, and because it's also new, we still don't have clear boundaries established.
What inspired you to write about the magical isle of Serendib?
Primarily because I'm a Sri Lankan. So when you leave the country, generally you have a newfound love and admiration and respect also for the country you left behind, I think, because you see yourself as separate from it, you miss your family, and I think it's a bit of nostalgia to begin with. And also I was then in this unique position where I could see Sri Lanka as an insider and also as an outsider, because I've kind of been both, and that's quite useful, I think. Just that name Serendib, doesn't it evoke such kind of mystery and yes, magical, and it also has that literary history, I think, because it appears in the 1001 Nights. I think Sinbad the Sailor sails to Serendib on 2 of his 3 voyages. So that all feeds into this kind of magical image that I wanted to use. And knowing what I do about Sri Lanka and the locations there, because I have 4 books set in them, and each of them is set in a slightly different location. So the first book is a kind of a jungle book, so set in a rainforest. So you see kind of Singharaja, and there's a little bit of Sigri as well. And then the second book is set by the coast, so it's near Galle, and it's a kind of a coastal book. The third book is set in the mountains, and then the last book is set in the north of the country. So you see kind of arid jungles and all that sort of thing.
Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. And if you like us, don't forget to subscribe and follow us.